Are you the kind of man a woman remembers, or the kind she forgets the moment you walk away? You may not like the answer. But you're about to hear it anyway. Because there are a few rare things a man can do, things so unusual, so powerful, so deeply rooted in calm masculine discipline, that they leave a mark on a woman's mind long after he's gone. Most men never learn these things. Most men never even realize they matter. But the ones who master them, they become unforgettable, and the first one is something every man thinks he's doing. But almost no man truly does. She remembers the man who made her feel safe. Not safe in a childish way. Not safe like protecting her from monsters in the closet. But safe in the way that reaches deep into the nervous system. The kind of safety that quiets her fears, calms her thoughts, and makes her body breathe differently around you. You can't fake this. You can't act safe. Women feel it instantly. It's biological. It's ancient. It's woven into human evolution. A woman's nervous system can sense chaos in a man the same way animals sense a storm coming. And most women have lived through enough storms to know what danger feels like dressed in charm. What makes a woman remember you is not that you were loud, or flashy, or charismatic. It's that in a world full of men who drain her, you were the one who made her relax. And that starts with something very few men ever master. Your state. Your energy is your first language. Your words come second. A man who is anxious inside but pretending to be strong, she feels it. A man who is trying too hard, performing confidence instead of embodying it, she feels that too. Women are experts at reading the gaps between your words. The tension behind your smile. The tightness in your jaw. The little flickers of insecurity you think no one notices. A woman never forgets a man who doesn't cause emotional turbulence inside her. And the truth is simple. To make a woman feel safe, you have to be safe within yourself. You have to be anchored. You have to be grounded. You have to be the kind of man who doesn't get pulled and tossed around by every tiny thing life throws his way. Because when you are calm inside, she becomes calm beside you. Here's something you might not know. When a woman is around a man who is emotionally steady, her cortisol drops. Her nervous system shifts. Her breathing slows. Her body softens. Her guard lowers. It's not magic. It's biology. And most men think making her feel safe means protecting her from physical danger. No. That's basic. Every man can do that to some degree. But emotional safety? That's rare. That's unforgettable. That's the kind of safety a woman remembers even years later. It's the way you speak. The way you respond instead of react. The way you handle pressure, the way you treat people who can't offer you anything. It's the way she knows that even if she's overwhelmed, you won't add to the chaos. You'll bring order to it. A man is unforgettable when his presence feels like a deep breath. And if you've ever wondered why certain men can walk into a room and instantly change the atmosphere, this is why. It's not their looks. Not their muscles. Not their money. It's their state. Their groundedness, their inner stillness. Stoic men understood this long before modern psychology gave it a name. Marcus Aurelius said, "A man's worth is measured by the things he can calmly ignore." Think about that for a second. Most men explode at the smallest things. They get angry over nothing. They fall apart over inconvenience. They lose control the moment reality doesn't obey them. But a man who can stay calm when everything is falling apart, he becomes memorable. Not because he's trying to impress her, not because he wants to appear strong, but because he is strong. A woman will never forget the man whose emotional state made her feel like she didn't have to handle the world alone. Now, the second thing a woman never forgets is even simpler. But almost no man does it. She never forgets the man who listens. Not the man who waits for his turn to talk. Not the man who pretends to listen so he can get what he wants. And definitely not the man who listens only when he's trying to impress her. She remembers the man who listens because he's present. Because he's curious. Because he actually wants to understand who she is. Listening is powerful because it's rare. And women know it's rare, because most men talk like they're being chased. Talk, talk, talk. Advise, fix, defend, convince. Anything except simply being there and hearing her. Let me tell you something psychological that explains everything. When a woman talks about something emotional, she's not trying to solve a problem. She's trying to process it. She's trying to make sense of it out loud. She's letting her thoughts breathe. Most men try to fix what she's saying. But the man she remembers is the one who lets her be heard. That's the whole secret. You don't need perfect answers. You don't need deep advice. You don't need to know the right thing to say. You just need to be there, fully. And being fully present is not passive. It's not weak. It's not submissive. It requires strength to listen without taking everything personally. It requires self-control to put your ego aside and just focus on her. It requires emotional power to let someone express themselves without making it about you. This kind of listening is rare because it demands selflessness. And that's something most men only pretend to have. A woman will always remember the man who made her feel understood. Because most people in her life don't understand her at all. They judge. They rush. They compare. They invalidate. They twist her words. They respond with impatience or defensiveness. They make everything a competition. But the man who listens, he becomes the exception. And the exception becomes unforgettable. Listening also changes the way she sees you. When a woman feels understood by you, she becomes more emotionally connected, more open, more trusting, and trust is the foundation of everything. But here's the thing. Listening doesn't mean letting her walk all over you. It doesn't mean being soft. It doesn't mean being submissive. Stoic listening is different. It means you hear her without absorbing her emotions. You stay centered even when she's not. You stay clear even when she's overwhelmed. You show her that her emotions can exist next to your stability. Most men crumble the moment a woman feels strongly about something. They take it personally. They panic. They feel attacked, they become defensive. But the man who listens without losing himself, he becomes a lighthouse. She remembers that. She remembers the calm. She remembers the steadiness. She remembers how you didn't make her feel stupid, or dramatic, or too much. You made her feel human. Heard. Seen. And nobody forgets the person who saw them clearly. Now here's where most men fail. They think being a good listener means being a nice guy. But that's not true. Listening is not the same thing as pleasing. Listening does not mean agreeing. Listening does not mean surrendering your position or values. You can listen while staying firm. You can understand without obeying. You can empathize without apologizing for things that aren't your fault. Listening, when done right, is a power move. Because you're not reacting. You're not emotionally flinching. You're not running from the moment. You're fully present. Fully aware. Fully in control of yourself. And when a man can listen in that way, a woman senses a strength in him that is extremely rare. She remembers it. She remembers him. She remembers the feeling of being calm around him. And that's the real reason listening becomes unforgettable. Not the words. Not the advice. Not the solutions, the experience of being around you. And that brings us to the third thing. Emotional stability. Most men think women remember the man who gave them butterflies. But that fades. Butterflies die fast. What lasts is emotional stability. This is the third thing a woman never forgets. And it's the trait almost every man thinks he has. But almost none truly do. A woman remembers the man who stayed steady when she couldn't. The man whose mood didn't swing based on her mood. The man whose reactions did not jump all over the place like a loose wire. Let me tell you something brutally honest. A woman can only relax next to you if she feels you can hold yourself, not her. Yourself. If your emotions explode every time she's upset. If you shut down when she gets anxious. If you interpret everything as criticism. Or if you lose control the moment things get uncomfortable. She won't forget you. But she'll forget you for the wrong reasons. Women remember the man who kept his center even when she lost hers, and here's the strange thing. She's not doing this on purpose. She's not testing you in some manipulative way. She's not trying to break you or punish you. Most of the time, she just wants to express her feelings without feeling like she's holding a live grenade. But many men are emotional grenades. You touch them with a small complaint, and boom. You bring up something simple, and boom. You tell them you're stressed, boom again. A man who lacks emotional stability becomes dangerous, not physically, but psychologically. No one wants to open up to a person who explodes or collapses every time. Women never forget the man who made emotional safety feel easy. And emotional safety comes from one thing. Your ability to stay the same man no matter what emotion she brings. If she's stressed, you don't become stressed. If she's upset, you don't become defensive. If she's emotional, you don't become chaotic. You stay yourself. You stay grounded. You stay calm, not because you don't care. But because you understand that her emotion is not a threat. And it's not your enemy. Her emotion is simply information. Most men make the mistake of seeing emotion as danger. But a woman doesn't want you to fix everything. She wants to trust that her feelings won't scare you away. And here's a psychological fact. When a woman expresses emotion and the man stays calm, her brain literally rewires the meaning of his presence. She begins to associate him with stability. She begins to feel safer around him. She begins to open up more naturally. This is why emotional stability is unforgettable. It's not about what you say. It's about what she feels. And she feels something rare. Peace. Not silence. Not avoidance. Not ignoring her. Peace. A calm presence. A calm voice. A calm heart. Men misunderstand calmness. They think calmness means being quiet, like you're trying to avoid conflict. No. That's not calm. That's shutdown. Shutdown is not strength. It's fear pretending to be control. True emotional calm is different. It's active. It's aware. It's collected. It's the kind of calm that says, I hear you, that I understand you. And I'm not going anywhere. That doesn't mean tolerating disrespect. It doesn't mean allowing chaos. It doesn't mean being her therapist. It simply means you don't lose yourself when she has feelings. A woman remembers the man whose emotional energy didn't shake every time hers shifted. And here's something most men don't know. Women feel safe around emotionally stable men because that stability gives them permission to soften. To trust. To breathe. To let go. No woman wants to be the strong one all the time. That's exhausting. Many only do it because the men in their lives are too unstable to lean on. A stoic man is not emotionless. He is emotionally disciplined. And that difference changes everything. The Stoics believed your emotions are your responsibility, not someone else's. Marcus Aurelius said, you have power over your mind, not outside events. And women instinctively feel this in stable men. He does not let external chaos break his internal peace. That makes him unforgettable. But here's where it gets interesting. A man can be emotionally stable and still lose a woman. Because stability without boundaries becomes softness. And that brings us to the fourth thing a woman never forgets. A man who holds his boundaries, not the man who yells. Not the man who threatens her. Not the man who says, "This is just how I am, deal with it." That's ego. That's insecurity. That's fear pretending to be masculinity. A boundary is not a wall. A boundary is clarity. A woman remembers the man who didn't bend himself into a pretzel to get her approval. The man who wasn't afraid to say no. The man who wasn't scared of losing her. The man who had values that actually meant something. Most men have no boundaries because they're terrified of rejection. They think saying no will scare her away. So they say yes to everything. Yes to disrespect. Yes to changing their schedule. Yes to things they don't want. Yes to abandoning themselves just to keep the peace. But there is no peace when you abandon yourself. There is only resentment. And women can feel that resentment in your voice, your body language, your behavior. She never forgets the man who had the strength to choose self-respect over approval. Boundaries make women feel safe, ironically, even when the boundary is uncomfortable. Think about it. When a man says no with calmness. When he asserts himself without anger. When he stands firm without being aggressive. She may react at first. But she'll respect him long term. Because in that moment, he is showing her something rare. A man with a backbone. Women don't respect men who give up their backbone for love. They pity them. They walk over them. They forget them. But the man who stands for something, he becomes one of the few men in her life she can't push around. And not pushing him around makes her trust him more. Not because she wants control. But because she wants to feel held, led, and protected by a man with structure. Boundaries are structure. Structure is masculine. Masculinity creates safety. And safety creates memories. But boundaries also reveal something deeper. A man who can lead himself. And a man who leads himself. Can lead others.